February 10th, 2025 meeting of Liscomb City Council will now come to order. Roll call. Craig. Ted.
Here.
Mike. Pam.
Yes.
Devin. We will open the regular session for the order of business. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as printed?
One thing real quick. Do you consider applying for the grant? We don't need to do that because I read deeper into it. We're not gonna qualify for any of it, so.
So we need to mark that one off.
And also, is this number 4 on new business? And also under number 4 on old business, is it update on Trails Inc. pledge? We didn't pay them, did we?
No,
So it'd be pledge.
well, it's update on their grant, and then if we're getting them a payment, so it could
What's
be
in the
worded
grant?
either
The
way.
grant was turned down.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
so
we
we'll
can
have to
turn
talk
them down
about
too,
it.
though.
We'll talk about it when we get there.
Okay.
Okay.
Is there a motion to approve the agenda as corrected?
So moved.
Second?
You,
Roll call vote. Craig?
Yeah.
Ted?
Yes.
Mike?
Yeah.
Pam?
Yes.
Devin. The agenda has been approved as corrected. Deputy Sheriff McMillan, would you like to give your report?
For the month of January, you had 57 documented business checks, 49 patrol sessions, 5 bar checks, 1 council meeting, 1 traffic stop, 3 school traffic patrols, 1 case follow-up, and then 4 park checks. And then for calls for service, you had 1 animal complaint, which we were unable to locate, 1 assist other agency, which was handled by officer, 2 medicals, in which we assisted EMS, and then 1 welfare check. And everything was verified to be okay at that time.
Are there any questions for Deputy McMillan? Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Head to Ferguson or Gilman or wherever you're.
I don't even know where I'm going.
Hopefully you've reviewed the minutes of the January 13th regular council meeting. And I don't have the minutes for the January 31st in my packet.
Oh.
Does everybody else have them?
No, we don't.
So are we approving them?
No, we'll just do it next time.
Okay, so, hopefully you have reviewed the minutes of the January 13th regular council meeting so that we can approve them. Now, there's a clarification to the January 13th minutes. At the meeting, it was announced that the motion to approve ordinance 127, adding a new section limiting the use of occupied recreation vehicles, did not pass because we needed 4 votes or a supermajority. And after reading the Iowa League of City Handbook and doing some consultation, this is not the case. An ordinance only needs a majority of votes to pass. So the minutes reflect that the motion to approve the ordinance passed. Are there any edits to the minutes? We need to capitalize Marshall under Sheriff McMillan, gave him Deputy December County Sheriff.
This is Calvin, that's Calvin. Is that what he's talking about? Oh,
I make a motion.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
second,
Okay, roll call vote. Craig?
Yeah.
Ted?
yes.
Mike? Pam?
Yes.
Deb?
Yeah.
All right, the minutes have been, for January 13th, have been approved as printed. We'll move on to the financial report for January. Hopefully you've had a chance to review that. And are there any questions regarding the financial report?
I'll make a motion to approve the financial report.
There's a motion to approve the financial report for January. Is there a second? Second. Roll call vote, Craig? Ted?
Yes.
Mike? Pam?
Yes.
Devin? The financial report for January has been approved and printed. Are there any questions regarding the bills for January?
Those QuickBooks that you purchased, how many is that? How many do you get?
That's one for 1 year.
That's one for 1 year?
I'm getting the $68 and some odd cents back from, they charge tax on it, so I applied to get that back. That'll show up next month. But yeah, that's for 1 year. Part of the reason why I want a new, something different. QuickBooks is becoming hard to work with and expensive.
So is that what we're gonna change here?
Yeah, that's what it's looking at, lower, or
So
on
we
the other
just,
year.
so we just bought it for a year though?
Mhm.
And we
If
won't
we-
be changing for a year?
I don't know how fast. If he gets to it fairly quickly, then I can apply and get
A credit?
a credit back, so.
Okay.
They've got it set up so they've got you coming and going.
Are there any questions on the bills?
Now that Hawkins Electric, that's it, right? Those fuel no.
That was fuel.
Oh,
Yeah,
but the
it's
fuel
done.
barrels are taken care of.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're all done.
But we'll still have the shed to water.
Yeah.
Fuel barrels are up and running.
And the charge to nutrients for the fuel that went in.
Did we check prices on that fuel?
How much did you buy?
2,970.
No, how many gallons? Thousand.
How much was it? $279 or something?
So you guys don't have
Total bill was $2,972.83.
For diesel and regular.
And you said that was blended fuel, right?
Mhm.
You got it blended 50/50 right now, right?
I was just curious how much it costs. I try not to pay attention to it because you gotta get it either way, you know, so I was just curious how much that would cost.
So you got 500
Each.
gallons.
Is the gas ethanol, you know, just for our small engine stuff?
Yeah, it's good for that.
Okay.
It does have ethanol in it, or no?
It's got a little bit, all of it's got ethanol.
But
No.
it's a-
So if it's-
Well, I mean, you can't.
Yeah, this ain't regular. This is like a 90-10.
So, yeah, that's the ethanol there.
No small engine, it's more of a premium than if it's 90. or
But it's good for
95.
lawnmowers.
Yeah.
10% ethanol?
Newer model.
It's harder, you can burn it, but it's harder on them.
Not mine.
Is there,
No, I can burn
Make a
it
motion.
beforehand.
is there a motion to pay, Devin made a motion, is there a second?
Second?
Second. Roll call vote, Craig? Ted?
Yes.
Mike? Pam?
Yes.
Devin?
Yes.
Bills have been approved as listed. Residents' concerns.
It's gonna snow.
All right, so you want to go first?
I'm just gonna bring this up again, because at this point, I'm not gonna let it go. My neighbor's smell has gotten outrageous. Yep, this is like the fourth or fifth time I've brought this up. The city needs to do something about it, you have ordinances on it. January 31st was 50 degrees, and I could already smell it in my back door. So I'm not gonna tolerate that this year, again, without the city. The city needs to do something about it. If you'd like to do research in your ordinance books, you'll find things on smells. There are now pests coming out of there, because I found cockroaches in my yard last year. It's quite obvious where those are coming from. You have ordinances on animal noises, noises in general. I have got somebody else going to be showing up to talk about the smell probably next month as well. I know Darwin has talked about the smell. He can smell it from his house. You've now got your fancy lawyer you guys wanted to wait for, so now you guys, I'm going to stay out of this as a city council member. I'm just going to be talking about this as a resident. I'm not going to partake because that's a conflict of interest in my opinion. So if you want to read chapter 50 on nuisances, you got offensive smells, filth, noisome substances, which is offensive or disgusting, harmful smells. I could go on and on about other things going on over there, but most of that is their prerogative, so I will leave them alone at that. I'm not going to let this go because you guys want to pass silly ordinances and other things, which is your prerogative as well. But you have some ordinances that you guys don't even know how to enforce, and you guys are going to need to figure that out. Because I'm not going to continue to tolerate it. If you guys want to enforce ordinances on other people for silly things, I'm going to be pushing for this. Because this is far more of an issue than anything that you guys are probably going to bring up, which it's your right to bring it up though. But I'm not going to idly sit by while my life is absolutely miserable outside, to the point of we can't even hang outside in the summertime. It is that bad. My wife and I almost got sick one time last summer, just standing by our garden, because the smell of pneumonia coming out of that place was gut-wrenching. And I know that can sound dramatic, but I had somebody from this end of town this summer ask me if that was them. I've had people that walking by the old railroad tracks that have come to my house, come to me and asked me if that is my neighbor's. Deb Sheebles can smell it. If you can smell a place off their own property, I think that is reason enough to go after them. They can smell all they want on their own property, that's their right. But at this point, those rights are being infringed on me, and I'm not going to tolerate it anymore. So, that's all I have. If you'd like to know where some of these ordinances are, I will gladly email them to you, talk to you about them, because I've done my research on them, and they all cover these issues. So, that's all I have. Thank you.
Other residents' concerns?
Well, he's got a point, you know, but how we're gonna go about getting it
Lawyer.
in order.
I thought we had already talked to the sheriff's department, they said there was nothing they could do.
Talk to who?
The sheriff's department,
Well, this would be.
they said they could live how they wanted to live.
But they don't have, it would go through the attorney. The sheriff's chief don't do anything about it.
This isn't a sheriff issue, though. It's a
If
city
you guys
issue.
wanna smell it, all you gotta do is walk down there.
This is a city issue.
So it would be through the court system.
You could say that about any ordinance, that if you're not gonna follow an ordinance on something, I don't quite understand how a sheriff would have anything to do with that.
'Cause I think
Now, if I'd like to call on-
sanitation for the county.
If I'd like to call on the animals that continually are in my yard, I've been informed that is a sheriff issue.
It's all gonna boil back to the sheriff's office, what's gonna happen.
No. It'll go through a lawyer, and the lawyer will have to take steps to do whatever the lawyer can do. What ordinance says he needs to do.
You got a boatload of ordinances that are being violated down there, and I can ignore most of them, but not the smell.
What do we do? We need to ask that city lawyer hard.
That's what I put in my notes, need a lawyer.
I think the first time I brought this up was last May. I waited all last summer. So now you have a lawyer. Something's gonna have to be done. So,
Contact.
I would greatly appreciate it.
I'll send them an email.
Well, all we can do is see what that lawyer's got to say.
we'll start that process.
I can't say as I blame you for wanting to do something about it. I sure as hell wouldn't want it next to me.
Okay, any other residents' concerns? Old business. Review of 2025 property tax levy.
That's this youth paper. This paper is what we publish, and we have a public hearing on to state at the end of the day, the most that the city will charge per 1,000 is listed on here, for which it really doesn't give you a grand total, it just throws out a bunch of numbers. What I have on there now is 11 something. Excuse me. Which I don't know that we'll use quite that much. The insurance is the iffy part, and that's what raised it the most. I don't have it on the sheet. Yeah, $11.70, .00 whatever.
That's the one you levy, that's in,
Right,
okay.
That's for 25, 26.
right.
So in 25, oh, there's 25, 26 also.
Oh, there it is up there.
Where's it at?
On one sheet, it's down at the bottom. On this one, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 up from the bottom. City regular tax rate. That is increasing at 80 cents a thousand. I don't know that we'll need that much. We can't go over that, but we can come down once we do the actual budget. So. The evaluations did go up a little bit, not really a whole lot.
And that's what this other sheet shows.
Up at the top of the sheet, it shows what the evaluations did.
So that's the maximum we could do. We might-
Right, the maximum we
We
could do
might
per
not have to
thousand
do
is
that.
$11.70382.
How do we compare with other small towns? Is everybody right in that
It's
ballpark?
hard.
Just right here.
Witness right now, I've got it at $20 and something. But
'Cause they have
Very
less
lucky.
people.
they have less people, but they also have, we're blessed with the co-op, quite honestly. You know, after they hit the $150,000 value, then, we end up with a lot, I think, from the co-op. Otherwise, you know, and the houses here in town, a lot of them are worth more than most of them in Whitman. So, otherwise, I don't
Big
know.
difference.
Yeah,
Wow.
I think, what did Junior tell me? They were looking at maybe $15 in the union. So,
So we're still way under.
yeah. It's always, I've tried to keep it around the 9, you know, over the years. It's been 9, 10. This is the highest I've ever proposed it to be, is over 11. Which to me, as a property owner, this is just one chunk though, of, you know, you got your, who knows what the school's gonna be, and the county on top of that, so.
So if we go to this other sheet that you have behind it, it shows us 24, 25, and 26.
Yeah,
Am I correct?
yes.
Okay, so we need,
So we need to set, I mean, if you wanna leave this the way it is, first of all, like I said, we can go lower than $11.70. We just can't go over it. I'd like to leave it at $11.70 for this hearing. And then we'll set the hearing March 24th. And then we can get by with just one meeting in April, rather than the 2 that we had last year to get all of this done. So,
So are you in accordance with the tax levy?
And we don't think insurance is gonna do anything.
He just told me 10% today, but that's for
Okay.
this year's. He's feeling like the city's stuff is gonna start leveling back out again. They've
Well, how
also,
much
they
is that new
keep,
bid thing gonna cost?
Yeah, that's what.
yeah,
I
well, and
wondered.
that's why I increased it. See, we'd only just had been levying for 20,000 of it, and I bumped it up to the 7, so
Yeah, that,
I don't know.
that would be.
Michelle hadn't gotten me back with that yet, so she wasn't in today, so I'll have to check with her. But that's still, you know, if we could leave it at 27, that's covering most of what
Well, yeah,
I
'cause
feel
that's
this
a,
year's is.
that's a 30% increase.
Yeah, that's
so-
that's the increase, because I lowered the FICA numbers. We haven't used as much as we've budgeted for with the last few years, so I'm like, we don't need to collect as much, we can use some of those reserves. So, yeah, the percent change is mostly because of the insurance.
I see no reason not to leave it, like you said, we can always adjust it back down, officially.
So do we need a motion to approve this?
Yeah, set the public hearing for March 24th.
I'll make a
It's a
motion.
Monday.
March 24th. Okay, so there's a motion on the floor to accept the property tax budget as printed with the hearing of March 24th.
Right, 7 o'clock. Because then after that, we can approve the official budget too.
Is there,
It'll be a 2-meeting night.
okay, there's a motion. Pam, Mike seconded. Roll call vote. Craig?
Yeah.
Ted?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Pam? Yes. Motion carried. So we covered the public hearing date. Discussion on the 2026 budget.
This is the simple budget. You had a piece of paper that gave you kind of some.
All these numbers on it?
Oh, no, that's your, just public. Yeah, that's your main. I'm just sorry, I had it in here. You would reference it. A very line, here it is. Like this, just kind of some general information. But then what I've just passed around is, I've simplified the 12 pages of the budget. And this is not complete whatsoever. I've just started it. Road use tax, I gotta look up that number, how much they're thinking we'll get. And that is based on how many our population is. But otherwise, the rest of the income is pretty, I took the numbers off that tax, what we've proposed. The sheriff department, they haven't raised it for 4 or 5 years. I'll probably up that a little bit. I keep anticipating they're gonna raise it just because everything's going up. I'll probably raise that to 8,000.
Christie, what's,
Go ahead.
What's proprietary?
That's business. Like the water and sewer, they consider a business, so. And those, we haven't changed the rates, and that's pretty common on how much we get in. I always throw money in for animal control. We haven't used animal control since I've been here, but there's always the first time. Fire department, I did raise 10,000 and lowered the first responders 5. Jordan said they wasn't gonna need as much money. And a lot of their funds have been going into their truck fund anyway, not they'll have not quite half of it, seems like lately, the last few years, so they've got quite a bit in a truck fund. Fire department, I did give you that page, and Ben's here to address what they're wanting to do with the fire department, and that we may need to increase some more. See what you think. Roads, does anybody see anything major that you're gonna wanna try to get done? I don't know if we get it done this summer, it'd be the summer after that. You think about that? We'll put some more numbers.
The miscellaneous 5,000, you said mostly Liberty and Liscomb. I didn't think we used any of the towns.
They, well, no, but I have to run those funds through the budget,
Okay.
so, yeah.
You should pay the insurance out of that
No,
for that day, or we just pay for that?
we just pay for that for the city. The city just donates towards, pays towards that. But since it's under the city's tax ID number, I have to run it through the budget. So.
Fire department here has a proposal of what they would like to
Yeah.
do.
Ben, you want to address?
Sure.
Do you want to address that?
So, what do you have in front of you? I have a quick look at bridge version what you're looking
Okay.
at. So page 2 is the breakdown, simplified version of what you're looking at.
Thank you.
So the last 8 months, the department's been pretty well focused on dotting our i's and crossing our t's. And come to the fire department, the best way to dot your i's, cross your t's is NFPA.
Come up here and type table. so we
Sure.
can hear you.
So, NFPA, to be compliant with the National Fire Protection Association, all of our things have to be within a certain lifespan, certain maintenance schedule, so forth, so on. So on page 2, bunker gear, if you look on the far right-hand side, it has a lifespan, 10 years. In-house, we have 10 sets. So, hopefully, in 5 years, we can rotate those every 2 years every year by 2 sets. So within 5 years, hopefully we can get 10 rotated through when they come up due. Looking at SCBA's, again, they have a lifespan in-house. So depending on the model year, or model of the SCBA's that we're talking about, some are 10, some are 15 years. I've been on the department for 10 years. I've never seen a hose changed or replaced. I've never seen a tank replaced. Rarely see gear replaced. And in order for us to be compliant as a fire department, we need to be on top of this. I'm not saying that there's any neglect in history past, but you work with what you're given, you work with the budget you got, and that's what they've done. And that's why I propose that we raise our budget, because we need to start thinking about the safety of the guys, efficiency of the team, getting the job done when we get there as quickly as possible, and running with old gear, old hoses that spring a leak while we're on scene. We've got 2 on the floor over there, I can bring them in and show you the versatile side. Things are getting old, it's been long overdue that we start replacing these things. And if we don't do that now, it could actually be somebody's life, somebody's health, their well-being, it's at stake. So hoses, lifespan, 10 years, we have 20-inch-and-a-half hoses over there. And all but 3 are on the pumper right now. At any given time, any of those hoses can be grabbed and used. We have 2 of them over there that have burst through the side. Things are old, things need to be replaced. Nozzles. We have replaced nozzles recently, a couple each year for the last 5 years. I think we started just before Hank left. Hand tools. The cheapest hand tool we have on the truck, $85. You put fire rated on it and you just triple the price. Things aren't cheap. every year, our air tanks need to be flow tested. They've been flow tested once since I've been on the department. Why? Because budget dictates what we can and can't do. Just overall, truck maintenance. One of the things, the DOT inspections that Junior was having to set up for the ambulance, won't be long, we're gonna be on that same track. $3,000 for a set of fronts,
I'm guessing it's for a whole set of tires on it.
it's $3,000. Yeah, so just one truck, $3,000. We have 2 of those trucks. So just to give you the idea, the dollar amounts, it's expensive. Fire department.
How many calls do we usually have a year, Ben?
That was part of our dotting our i's and crossing our t's this past 8 months. What did we come up with? Do you remember?
I'd have to look at the, I am responding stuff.
Yeah, we're probably looking at,
I was thinking, for some reason, 175 or
yeah,
65.
150, 160, but yeah, about 160, 175.
175 calls?
So some of them's lift assist, some of it's car accidents, some of it's structure fires, most of it's grass fires.
A lot of it's mutual aid.
A lot of it's mutual aid.
How does mutual aid work?
If there's a house fire in town here, Paige is gonna go out and Paige, Liscomb, they're gonna page Albion. The fact that it's a structure fire, Albion gets paged at the same time as we do. It's our call, but they get paged at the same time. Second page that goes out, nobody answers. We're talking Clemens gets paged. So that's our mutual aid. It's
Green Mountain.
Green
Whoever's
Mountain.
next closest.
Yeah.
Because every little town, nobody's got enough for a full, enough guys, period.
We've seen Albion come up with, I don't know where they got the guys, but they must have come up with a dozen guys. But that's still barely adequate to do a structure fire.
Now, do we have to reimburse them for any mutual aid? Is just mutual aid? Okay.
How many do we have on our roster right now?
That are somewhat currently active, 8.
So you're really short.
We're very short.
That's
And
eight.
that would have to be a structure fire to get
That's
Blake to
8 on the
show up,
roster,
to get
not
Josh
eight
to show up.
That's
Yeah.
That's 8 on the
Useful.
roster,
On the roster.
Well,
That's not-
more
that's
like
not-
7
That's not average
4 or
attendance.
5 should,
4 to 5.
You would have to be a
show.
structure fire to get
I'm
those
looking
guys
at
to
the
show up.
I mean, I'm there, but I don't.
You're
It's
looking,
late in the
8 on the
evening.
Don't try to
roster.
pull that.
I help out.
midnight, you'll see
How many do we
us
pay?
2. Evenings, you'll see us 3.
Holy, 20 sometimes.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow, it is.
Another thing on that budget, the SCBA's, we have applied for a grant, we don't know yet, and with all the funding being cut, governmental wise, who knows? But we have applied for that grant, so that number could potentially go away for a little while. But once again,
3/4 of it.
in 10 years from now, you're gonna be back in the same
We're back in
situation.
the same boat. Just like the AEDs. According to the NFPA, we're supposed to have 1 AED on every truck that leaves the building. Fire department doesn't own an AED. Ambulance has one, but we don't even have one. We don't even have a single AED on the truck over there. NFPA says we're supposed to have one on every rolling vehicle.
Ben, I really commend you, Donnie, Lance, for putting this together. I really, really commend you. I know this took time, and I am very grateful. So,
Thanks.
a lot of time, I know it did.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of reading, a lot of research, but
Thank you.
especially when you walk in blind. I mean, one day I wasn't chief, the next day I was like, oh boy, what was dropped on my lap? Well, this is actually what's come of it.
Thank you. We really, really appreciate this.
Yep, no problem.
Now, does the township,
Yes, the township's meeting tomorrow night. So-
Well, that might have to be Thursday, I sent you an email.
Oh, I'm
Due to the
sorry.
weather, I might get stuck in Ankeny.
Not
so do
tomorrow
they
night,
give
but-
part
It might be
of this?
Thursday.
It all depends on how much they allocate.
Yep,
Okay,
so whether
so we
Whether
don't
they-
know,
because
okay.
they could promise Albion and they could promise us and promise Clemens all equal shares, which is inappropriate if you ask me, because literally Liscomb has 78%,
I went through-
77%.
I went through all the
A
numbers,
banger.
all the 911 addresses we have, and we're basically a third Liscomb Township, a third City of Liscomb, and a third Bangor Township. I mean,
So as
it's
far as their
very
share-
close to, that
Third.
They
percentage
should
wise.
know how much taxable value now is
Yes.
in
Yes.
Liscomb's Fire Department, Green Mountain's Fire Department,
Yeah.
Albion's Fire Department.
The
They
hardest
did
part,
that 4 years ago, I think.
yeah, the hardest
Which
part
was
with
part of
that
why
is,
things got derailed, but they
It's-
have that, those numbers now.
right, it was,
Like
that was,
I'm paying for Liscomb Township, should my funds go to Albion's or Green Mountains Fire Department? I want all my funds to come here because I'm paying extra insurance to have, on my insurance, because I have Liscomb, you know, so, because I'm 6 miles away. You
that was
know,
part
so
of
I
the
want all
debate
my
was,
money to go to them.
is it residential or is it 911 address? So when we approached it, we put our quote together, it's 911 address, it's a serviceable address.
Mhm.
So whether it's a grain bin, whether it's a hayfield, or whether it's a structure, it is still a serviceable address.
Mhm.
The township doesn't see it that way. They think residential, if there's a house on it, then it's a serviceable address. Well, then that means I don't come out and put out your gas fire, I don't put out the green bin fire. I mean, where do we draw the line? So,
Blame it on the farm.
that's gonna be the pending argument, is what's a serviceable address?
I also think the money that they receive is not for them to keep, it's supposed to be distributed to around. It isn't for them to say, we're gonna hold this back for this and this. They're supposed to give it all the money they get to
That's my understanding.
either
It is-
Clemens, Liscomb, or
It's
whatever.
it's a line item on your property tax that you pay, and that money is designated for public safety, period. Can't use it for anything else. That doesn't mean they have to spend it.
No,
They could
they-
save it
Careful.
for a truck or something.
Well, they could save it because they want to save it.
Right,
I-
they don't have
I
to spend
thought,
it.
I
No,
thought there was a thing that they had to turn that over.
no, they don't
Now,
have
see, in Liscomb Township.
That would be a,
history, they have turned it over.
yeah.
Bangor Township, history is not.
Mm.
to.
And even though
Even though
this
78%
department
of their
has
ground.
most of Bangor Township, Clemens was getting more money. They was getting a bulk share of it. So,
They got more houses.
That would be like the government saying that your budget that you're working on right now, you have to spend every dollar in every one of those accounts. And there is no rule that tells
But see,
them
they
that.
have to take care of cemeteries out of that township
Yeah,
budget.
yeah.
but not the fire department
But not the
line.
fire
The
department.
No.
fire department has its own line.
Right, but.
So that should not take care of any cemeteries.
And I should say, I misspoke on the grant thing. If we get the grant, we will be responsible for what, 5%?
Yeah,
So we'll have to pay 5% of the total cost, which is less than one SCBA, but we're still hoping that grant comes through. We don't know yet.
same
But
with
it's
the
a-
AEDs,
it's
I've
a-
got an avenue they're going down, hopefully it's at 50/50. I get, if I buy all 4 up front, they'll pay for half of them. So they pay 50%. If we pay 50%, then we have to have our 50% up front. So, I'll have more on that in a month or
Now,
two.
Ben, are your plans to get us up to NFPA standards by the end of the year?
I don't know about the end of the year.
That would involve $48,000 if I read that right.
Yeah,
Well,
Yeah.
$48,000 for the next probably 4 years
Well,
to
for the-
continually replace things.
Well, and that's,
for the next 5.
yeah, that's the deal. If, you know, we could figure out, you know, how you can stage that in.
Well, it's been neglected for so long. I mean,
Well, and I would say
it's
it's
just like the
it's
streets,
been
you know.
lacking, just for the simple
If
fact
you
that we
don't put
haven't had the
anything
funds.
towards them, it's gonna cost you more in the long run.
I mean, if we had the funds, I'm sure they would, replace things, but it's just to the fact if you don't have the money, you can't do it.
If we can replace, you know, just say one every year, then down the line, when this one comes due, you only need one, then the next year, whatever.
Buying 3 sets of
So
gear at a time.
it doesn't,
Yeah.
so we don't get in the same,
Unfortunately, that fallacy is just what you said.
Yeah.
If we get up to date by the end of this year, 5 years from now, 10 years from now,
We're
we're in the same boat.
dig out the checkbook. So, yeah,
And
you
that's
don't,
what we're proposing, 2 sets of gear
Trying
a
to
year,
spread
2
it out.
things a year.
Trying to spread it out.
Couple hoses here.
So it
Yeah.
doesn't come due right now.
So spelled out on the front page is the quantities that we're looking to rotate through so that we have a continuous cycle So it's 2 sets of gear, 2 SCBA's, 1 AED, 2.5-inch hoses, 1 2.5-inch hose, 1 nozzle, and then the associated cost of consumable maintenance and repair.
And that would run into how much? Yeah. Compare that to your budget now. Double?
This would be $23,000 short.
Okay, so the current budget is about
It's
25. So you're looking at basically an annual budget of 50 grand.
Yep.
Which hopefully we can also get part of that from the townships. is
Yeah,
the
we'll get
plan.
part of that
I mean,
from-
most of that from the townships,
For
hopefully.
the townships, and then, you know, if we can get the grants and everything else lined up, and that will actually make a significant improvement over truck fund for the next one.
What was the question?
Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you, Don.
Yes.
Thank you,
How
Lynn.
much the township gave last year.
I'll read your email.
20,000 from Bangor, and about 10. It was about 10 and 20. Bangor was 10 and Liscomb was 20.
Well, let's go, Bangor gave more, because 10 of it was.
Well, okay,
Well,
10 of it was
for the truck,
yes.
yes. So that's typically what we've been getting, is 20-ish from Liscomb and 10 from Bangor.
So for,
From the township.
For the townships.
so we would, ours would be right at 20,000 for the city.
Like I said, according to 911 addresses, we're about a third, a third, a third. A third the city of Liscomb, a third Bangor Township, and a third Liscomb Township. So in my opinion, that, yeah, if everybody gave 20,000, we'd be sitting pretty good.
And the Bangor Township, what percentage of the Bangor Township do we cover?
We cover like 78% of Bangor
78%
Township.
of their township we have.
Now, that's area by area or
That's
by?
by 911
By
address.
911 addresses. Ooh, interesting data point. Yep.
I'm just to look at the,
Farmer keep buying these places and don't doesn't hit. So if we.
And I don't know, I just went off the 911 map. So there could be plenty of places like that that we don't even know about, you know what I mean, that there could not be a house there.
Oh, heck yeah.
But-
And it's still
I don't know that.
address,
That's
still
just, that's just.
serviceable.
So we need-
My destination.
So if the township with that, we should be.
Well, we don't know what the township.
I know, but-
So,
But if they, they give what they've been.
They just-
So
just
then-
They're
charge
gonna,
your size
we're gonna meet
911
with
address.
them soon.
Yeah, you just
This
can't
week.
say, well,
So we
it's
should-
30 miles this way.
Because
It
their
was gonna be
budgets, I
tomorrow
think, need
night,
to be
no.
done before ours.
You said something about
You know
the
what,
snow.
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, depending on the snow, will depend on, it's making it difficult for me to get to work
Correct.
rather than home
Correct.
from work.
Correct.
So it's just, yeah, it's gonna be all.
Ben, do you want to give your fire department report and then you can do that?
Report, quick and short, GM has finished the build on our grass rig. They're waiting for transport to ship it to Ankeny. Once it arrives in Ankeny within the next week, 3 weeks, we'll run it over to Cresco, have the bed put on and have it back here.
I got a date for the bed assembly, or bed installation is tentatively scheduled for March 17th right now.
Oh, perfect.
So,
Oh, it'll be awesome. Other than that, it's been dotting our i's, crossing our t's, doing what we gotta do.
All right, thanks, Mike. You guys,
So,
don't,
Can he get a copy of the,
oh, yeah.
oh, I haven't given you a copy of that yet, here. I
We
emailed
need-
it to Jordan, but I'll just go over it with him. The audit did not like you guys as independent funds. This time it finally caught up with us.
Gotcha.
Some towns have been dealing with it being part of the cities as long as I've worked here. This time, since it's under the city's tax ID number, it's supposed to be included in all of my stuff. Jordan's thinking of taking the first responders and giving them their own tax ID number. And then that's up to you guys.
Okay.
Until then, I'll still need to add it to this.
Sure.
I can get with Ed.
Yeah.
Since
Give
he's
it
the
there,
treasurer.
and I'll get with you.
So that's something, and I don't
They
know
want their,
what it takes to get one,
We'll
a
find out.
separate tax ID number, and then there's forms to fill out, every 2 years? Is that what you guys need to do with the Ball Association? Every 2 years, there's forms to fill out and all that stuff, so,
Gotcha.
yeah, so,
Committee and all that.
yeah,
Okay.
they,
All right, I'll go with Jordan and we'll
I
figure it
was
out.
gonna say, yeah, I was gonna say, Ed and I've talked about some of it when we had the audit stuff. So that's the most of it, you
Yeah.
guys, yeah.
All good.
Donnie, feel free to go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
so
guys.
much.
You bet.
Thanks.
So when the truck comes in,
Whoa,
remember you guys
wait a
had
minute,
approved,
hang on.
you guys had approved purchasing the truck already. So when the truck comes in and I get the number, okay for us to go ahead and cut the check so they can bring the truck home? You see any?
I mean, we've already approved it, yeah.
Right, but I just want to make sure that it's,
Do we need a motion for
no.
that?
I mean, we motioned that they could purchase it, I didn't see any need why we couldn't, but just,
Thank
Gotcha.
you. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
I'll read your email and response.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. Okay, so back to this, we kind of.
so what are you thinking then on the fire department? Do we want to raise it so that they can possibly get all that?
I think we need to wait till township money comes.
Besides,
Well,
Because
if
we can
budget-
actually
If we
finish
budget
this
30
budget.
and get whatever, 20 from them, then we should be
Yeah,
close to the
right.
Yeah.
48, yeah.
The 30, but then all
We're
of,
still
all
not-
of the first responders funds that are coming from the city then too. So before the township funds actually cover fire department, first responders expenses, so,
So part of that one.
yeah,
Will be gone. I mean, if we
Right.
put all that toward the fire department.
right. So,
So that.
anyway,
The town, the city will cover the first responders.
right.
And what do they usually start out with?
They've been getting 20 because they had been in the same boat after,
So
for
this
lots
all
of
comes out of
years.
general, right?
Right. They had been in the same boat as where the fire department is now, and Junior got, he and Jordan spent quite a bit of money, and we had increased them, they were, I don't know, 10,000 for a long time for a budget. We increased it to 20 because they had lots of things to upgrade, even just the supplies were, a lot of it was out of date. And so,
And we've got 2 people on first
and now we have
responders,
2
right?
people on first responders, but most of their equipment should still be up to date. Jordan didn't see any reason, and maybe 15, maybe I just need to ask, excuse me, Jordan, how much are you thinking you really need? Part of it depends on if somebody would step up and want to take the class,
Exactly.
and if we pay half of it, so. And that class is pushing $1,000,
Right.
so.
I think more than that, Jordan was.
Oh, probably the last one exceeded 1,000, and that was several years ago. So, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, we'll just need, I'll ask Jordan. How much, if he thinks 10 will work. Or maybe we just want to leave it at the 15. The one thing between the fire department and the first responders, what they do not spend in their budget, we do put it in that truck fund for them, truck equipment fund. So, yeah, that's what happens with them. We started that a long time ago to encourage them not, oh, well, I still have $5,000, let's just go blow it, basically. And so, which,
Yeah,
that's
shame on you.
that's probably before him.
Well, that was,
So anyway,
Okay, so we're on public works, right?
right. Roads, do you see anything major we need to do this summer, next summer?
Where are we at?
Bottom of this,
Oh, gotcha,
this handout.
oh,
gotcha,
this,
gotcha, okay. We're all on
I think we're gonna
same
have to keep up on those, I mean, we can't just,
I don't pay attention to potholes need filled, or, was it 2 summers ago we did the seal? Just not down East Street?
That's
How
not-
often do you do that? I don't know.
That's not gonna be you're gonna have to make a plan at some point. Those 2 that aren't gonna last.
well, that's
And
what I
maybe
think.
get 20 years out of them, but you need to start setting up a bit of a better plan, I think, on getting money set aside.
Well, chip rock, you wanna go around and see how many more towns put it down.
Oh, no, I'm not,
Yeah, yeah.
not arguing
But
about
at-
that, I'm just
But
saying.
at some point,
We have
that
to-
will even need done again.
Yeah,
Right, I
so-
mean, we have to
Well, I
have a
don't-
plan.
But I mean, even these bigger towns are put it down. I don't know how often they need to redo those types of roads, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it depends how well it's done in the first place. I had heard like a 15-year lifespan or so, but I don't know how good a condition it is at the end of that, so
It probably depends on traffic.
Yep, yep.
if they're doing burnouts or not.
It's like State Street will need it probably sooner than,
Grant.
yes,
Uh,
or Washington, I mean,
Yeah, actually, I do have something, places where people burnt out, day one. Can we have that fixed? Just those spots?
Those that very first night.
Yeah, we got a bid on what.
Where was it besides in front of yours?
In front of me,
About 5,000.
they were spinning around in
Was it out in front
a
of the
deal
church
over
now?
here.
was it by the church?
They did.
There's a whole dugout over here in front of my old house.
We'll have to learn.
Didn't we have Healy drag a building up State Street?
Lucas did.
Lucas
Well,
did?
But that really didn't do
So
much.
you might want to.
That didn't hurt it?
It's still got a
Do we use
on the
the
highway.
road tax money?
Just like
to go into
Devon,
that?
when they spun out, I
It's a
don't,
road use tax.
I mean, what are you gonna put some tar down, put it down that,
Well, they
the
want-
two,
How much is in that?
They wanted like $5,000 to fix them places up when they burn them out.
Well, that's what the budget's for, so.
who wanted
Right
$5,000?
now, there's
Yeah,
56,000
That's it, 36 is.
Well, and then Nixon
And
and
the
then
road
a
use
skid
tax.
row up there. Oh, I don't know if it was Nixon.
Oh,
Out in front of
Skid
Nixon.
loader, yeah, his doctor cut that with a skid loader.
That's for the skid loader.
Not
Now,
yet.
I don't know if it was him or,
It was him.
I need to retract that, because I
It
don't
was
know.
him.
Well,
There's
I didn't know.
Ted
that.
does not have that.
56,450 road use tax.
So do we not, do we need to put more into roads at this point in time or not?
We can always adjust.
Is that gonna put down more of that
Street lighting
chip
enough?
seal? Are you gonna put down more of the chip seal stuff?
We're just talking about if we need to repair those
So that we,
spots.
and then that road use, we get
It's
like
like-
over $2,000 in the range.
Month pass?
It's usually less,
Well, they
this
got more
month is
county
high.
put down.
It's usually
State Center did a whole
18,
bunch over there.
17, 18
I don't
in
live
there
in State Center.
Well, you know.
Per month?
per month.
I just
Yeah,
think
this
we're gonna
month
have
was
to
high.
keep up on them, so we don't have to
Yeah.
do every all of them at once.
I wanna bring my wheelchair up here and have you guys take.
That's for
control and all
roads
this crap
use
in it.
tax,
Yeah.
per month. Is street lighting enough?
Should be, I did bump it up another 1,000. Snow
What
removal.
they'll charge for that, like a little bit each month now, or like
Which
they
one?
just put in the month for the street.
Now, that one
lights.
was $30
Yeah, that's what they charge.
a
per
month, yeah. Snow removal, that's usually about all we shoot. At this point, we might be lucky to use 2, knock on wood.
Garbage
Does
is,
that count, snow removal count like the hourly rate too, or just?
Right, it's his wages, the fuel,
Salt.
salt,
Okay.
yeah. Garbage is the
Cleanup day. Will that increase?
I haven't
Huh?
heard, we didn't spend that much last year, so. That's the highest we've ever spent,
Oh, that, okay.
so I thought I did it right. Yeah, last year was low.
Okay, well, welfare assistance,
That's some to YSS and
Micah?
Micah.
mosquito control,
That's like 2 times now.
library services, we
That-
adjusted that, didn't we?
Right, that includes 250 to union and then the 3% increase to ComEd.
Parks,
Park Cemetery, most of that is wages. I don't know if we want to try, do a lot of the stones need work on? Well, we haven't, Bob hadn't fixed any for 4 or 5 years.
Bob ain't gonna do it.
Well, I know, but I didn't know if we needed to find,
We
If
talked
Nevada
about
would
last
come do it.
time, Yeah, about Nevada maybe might come do
I mean, do we have several that need it?
Oh,
it. I know of 2.
I can whip up a dozen real quick.
that won't be enough.
Hausers, you know, they got 2 of them, not too big of stones, still pretty heavy. Both of them are move and easy. Bill Hausers and, I don't remember which other, there was another Hausers there on that far. And I know they're loose, because I had Bob out there, and he said he was gonna go out and fix them, but.
That'll add up fast.
So put another 5 in it?
I don't know, but
I'll call Nevada and see if they even do it and who.
what an average stone repair cost.
Right.
Who could you get to paint that archway out there, because it's, I think it could use some paint on it, that silver paint. You know, who would do that? Darwin,
What?
gonna paint the archway?
Yeah. I got a kid with Brandon. Put him up in the basket.
So just buy paint. Okay.
I don't know, it's just silver paint or is it something special?
Community building, we're kind of caught up on that. Oh, no, that's the door.
Yeah, well, do we want to, this door back here is not in very good shape. So just general maintenance, and I don't know what that door would cost to replace it.
They're not cheap.
Oh, it's a metal one. We all raised that one, so.
You don't want just a doorway in your office, though. You need some updates.
Yes, and that's down here with City Hall and buildings.
Does that need to go in our budget for like capital improvements or something?
The City Hall, like,
Yeah,
yeah, go in the budget, down here.
Okay, general government.
Mayor and council, your wages, all that everybody's been in there. Mine, the clerk is wages. What's under the special revenues column and all of those is our IFRS and FICA tax.
Do you think that's gonna be enough money for the attorney?
I don't know, I've raised it twice in my head. Do we wanna put 5?
I don't think
At
that's,
least.
I don't think that's gonna be near enough.
especially if we're gonna try to get rid of properties.
I wouldn't think that would take that much, it's just all this other stuff. I mean, getting rid of, selling the property should be cut and dry, but,
Well,
it's still, that clerk is sitting in Newton's gonna do it anyway. Put 5 or put 75?
I don't know.
I think 75.
Okay.
They always say that when you
I don't
switch
know.
attorneys, the first year is very, very expensive, and then it levels off.
Why do they say that?
Because you're
Because they've got to
establishing
learn.
a relationship with the new attorney, and
They've got to
They
learn
have
our
to-
ordinances.
right, they have to go
and-
through all your books, and
Plus, sometimes you sat on stuff for a while and
Oh,
get
yeah.
caught up. City Hall and buildings, I put 15 in there. That's other buildings too. I have no idea what we're gonna do, maybe that's too much.
It's not too much.
I just need somebody to go, I need Denise to come home and tell me what to do. General, this is missing insurance, I think. I need to check that other general, because that doesn't seem like enough for the miscellaneous insurance. Because like the truck insurance and the tractor insurance can come out of road use tax. Fire department has theirs, but the other general will be like buildings insurance. So I need to check that. That
And
doesn't
that'll
seem
go under
high
that
enough.
general government
Right.
also.
when does this budget have to be done?
April.
Okay. So
So
we've got
can
the
go-
March
We
meeting?
had the March meeting,
Okay.
and even the meeting after the, excuse me, the meeting after the special meeting for the tax levy.
Okay.
Even if there's something you decide you want to tweak then, we can still do that, and then I can still get this so it's published.
But you
And then-
can have a better feel now for the March meeting, we can
Right.
review it again.
Right. Because we've got some things to figure out for sure. Then the water and the sewer, that's been what it's been adding. The sewer loan, I have to look up the number specifically, so I stay on schedule, or even though we generally pay more money, I just put the number that's in the amortization for this year. Otherwise, it's kind of a pain in the backside if, I have to get a new amortization schedule every year, so I just go by the old one and move on.
Thank you, Christie.
Oh,
So, go ahead.
What are we, I know it's just an idea here, but the tractor trade-in,
Oh,
what would be the thought process on that?
are you thinking this next year, or you wanna wait one more?
I'll just wait another year.
Okay. So
All right.
throw it out.
Thank you. I know that's a lot. Update on the trails.
They did not get their grant.
Right.
And when we made that pledge, we said if they got the grant, then you would
Right.
give them a total of 10,000 over 3 years. They did not get that, so I just want to have it. And a motion made that we don't do
Rescind
that, we're rescinding it, then I can send it to them and say, sorry you didn't get your money, maybe next time,
Right.
you know.
Yeah. Is there a motion to rescind the Trails Inc. pledge money? Is there a second?
Yes.
Roll call vote. Craig?
Yes.
Ted?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Pam?
Yes.
Deb?
Yep.
Okay, consider advertising for a temporary maintenance worker. I think we need to go ahead and make that motion, and then we'll turn it over to the Personnel Committee to take over and come back with a plan at the March meeting
Why? What's up with this?
for a second,
Well,
a
we
mower.
Oh, you just
We
want a
need
second
somebody
mower, I didn't
more.
understand that.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
somebody that Daniel, or the
Mower.
summer help.
Okay,
Weed eater.
and
And
then
I-
you guys are still gonna bring all the applicants to us and have your suggestion?
I think they'll interview them, and, I mean, they won't make any decisions until.
No, but you're still gonna, I just wanna make sure we're still gonna have all the information.
Yes, yes,
Oh, yeah.
yes. Yes.
Okay.
No, work with Darwin on number of hours and things like
I
that.
just didn't understand what that was for.
So let's, is there a motion to advertise for temporary maintenance worker? And then the Personnel Committee will work with Christie on that and Darwin, and then they'll bring all that back to the March meeting. Is that agreeable?
Who's the personnel?
The Personnel Committee is Mike and Pam.
Is that justifiable?
We voted on that last meeting, or one of the meetings you were gone. So is there a motion to advertise for a temporary maintenance worker?
Temporary part-time, right?
Yeah.
Temporary part-time. Lawn mowing,
Snowball season?
yes. Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call vote. Craig?
Yes.
Ted?
Yes.
Mike? Pam?
Yes.
Devin?
Yep.
So then come back with a plan at the March meeting, please.
Plan, you gotta-
Consider new computer software for city accounting. I don't think that's an issue. I mean, we just need to approve it, right? Okay. So is there a motion to approve new computer software for city accounting?
Yes.
Okay. Roll call vote. Craig?
Yes.
Ted?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Pam?
Yes.
Deb?
Yep.
Motion passed. Consider Christmas pole lights. I'm gonna turn that over to Ted to work on, and bring some options back to the March meeting, and we can talk about them.
Okay.
So let's, rather than just sit and hash, here's information. There's more.
All right.
So come up with
Please
a,
go to my assistant.
yeah, sure,
She
administrative
had
assistant.
some advice tonight.
All right, so
You're gonna be in the meeting.
work on that project and bring that back.
Okay.
And then we will talk about it and what the cost is, and see if it's even a possibility. All right, what, number 4 was X-Dot, review the state audits.
I guess I went through it, gave you a breakdown. Overall, it was the easiest audit I've had. Most of what's in here is what I get every time. Besides the first responders and the fire department, they threw that in this. As we was trying trying to find items for the audit. Ed and I talked about some of this stuff, you know, they didn't have the backup for some of the fire department stuff. He had taken over after that time frame of what they were looking for, so. As far as that goes. Ed and I talked about it.
So their accounts are gonna come into,
This is how I did it at Union for their fire, not their ambulance. Basically, I did a copy of their, statement, I type it in and move on. They talked about having, it would be listed in the bill listing, so you guys could approve them spending, I don't know, whatever they wanted to spend their, because fundraiser funds is basically what goes in those accounts. So the city's always, as long as I've been here, just kind of, you guys raise the funds, it's yours to spend. It's been that way for, I'm guessing, eons and eons.
but now it needs to change.
Right. Does the auxiliaries, I get the
We're going to take care of that.
was under that, but they didn't mention it whatsoever. So
Yeah,
I'm
that
not
makes
sure how
sense.
they knew the fire department and the first responders had accounts. We've not ever touched them with an audit, so I'm not sure. I was surprised that the auxiliary didn't get pulled into it too. So,
See, when I put that container over there, I thought that money was gonna go toward the fireworks display. And back then, they told us we couldn't do that. Put that money in the city account.
Not the city account.
so that's how it ended up going into the auxiliaries
Yeah, because
account?
you guys gave it up, you and Ralph gave it up, so John took it over, and we just put it into the firefighters auxiliary account, which was, it was our auctions. It was our auction money that started that.
Sort of what?
Started the
The
women's
auxiliary.
auxiliary.
The women's auxiliary.
I thought that's where the pop camp money went.
And how much money did you turn over to us, Snowball?
Hey, I let John handle that.
But you should
I
know
let
how.
John take care of that.
Snowball doesn't know how much money he put in there, okay. Yes,
Well,
we,
but that was a long time ago.
yes, we started that account in 1987.
So, but it was still under the city's taxation.
Yes,
So,
it's going to,
anyway.
it's going to change. We don't know where we want to put it, but it's going to go to a fund for whatever.
So the auxiliary then is disbanding?
Yeah, well, yeah, we don't, I mean, it's Janet and I and Kathy
Yeah.
Terry. Yeah,
So anyway,
yes.
so there are a few things on here. Appoint a couple people to look over the bank recs that I do every month
I think
and just check.
I
I know,
think-
I would like at least 2 people just, that's continual, I guess, I don't know. And it didn't have to be 2 people every time, just one person.
but I think
But
it
I know
needs,
who
but
it needs to be.
I
That
think
those
it needs to be the
consistency.
same one.
Yes, well, or just, because, but like if you're gone, then I need
Oh.
somebody else,
yeah.
you know? So even just go back and forth. Because it comes off the computer anyway. So that's what, oh, that's what that is. Bank rec is the same.
So this is gonna be, yeah, because we're gonna have to match receipts up with checks.
Oh, I
Do
don't
you-
think they was going that far, it's just to
Do
make
you
sure my
match-
check recs, the reconciliation, you can match it as what comes off the, or the bank statement.
Okay. Do
It's
you,
not that big of a deal.
when you pay with checks every month, do you get the bills with those checks?
No, they're always here.
That's something you're probably, I know that's what they always used to do. You had to match that check against the bill so you could verify and then you signed off. Just
I
signed
say
off
they
on
haven't,
bills.
they have not asked for that.
What's the petty cash
There's
policy.
supposed to be a petty
Do we
cash
have a
policy.
petty cash fund?
I'm sure there was one from 1980 something or other, but
Do we have a
Yeah,
petty
I
cash
think-
fund?
yeah, it's got $35 in it. So I'll need to get one of those. Then there was another thing that, for next month. Credit card policy. I think it's an old one too, old enough that I couldn't find it, but I figured there was one.
You just want something on paper?
Yeah, it's just, yeah.
I think, and I know
So
this is
I'll
not
have
gonna
to- I'll put
happen
it out there and. see what
tomorrow,
can
but I
find.
think we have a lot of policy and procedures that we need to get down in a book.
Like-
You know, well, like the reconciliation, like, the Liscomb Fire Department. So if, God forbid, something happens to the powers that be, there's a book that said, okay, this is what.
Oh,
you gotta do.
instruction manual.
Yeah,
Just in,
yeah,
yeah, I
yep,
got it.
yep.
I slowly work on it as I go through. And
Okay.
now it's gonna don't change because I'm getting new software, but his is good about, he's good about having instructions that I can tweak to make it work for ours, so I
Okay.
don't have to start from scratch. Yeah, the credit card policy and the petty cash policy,
And
I'll have
payroll
it.
sheets.
yeah, and the payroll sheets are always in here too that you can look at.
Oh, we have payroll sheets?
He has one, I'm on salary. So anybody that's hourly has a payroll sheet.
So those are just gonna have to have somebody's initial on it.
Right.
So you can prove, yep, you looked at it.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't wanna approve it, I can always just void it. But I don't wanna go, on Wednesday, have to track somebody down to sign all the checks. So it's easy enough, it's easier to write void than it is to track somebody down to sign a check. It's always been my thought. The question of disbursements from first responders. They bought lunch when they went to Strang's funeral. They bought Junior and Jordan bought McDonald's. It's not like they even spent a lot of
Well,
money.
how did?
And there was something else.
There is terminology in the book that it has to be public, what's the second word? Any money that you spend.
This has to benefit the
The
public.
public, yeah.
See, those funds came from their
Fundraising.
fundraisers. So, you know, that for a long time, that's just been their funds to spend and
So I wonder how we're supposed to do.
well, they'll just have to be tighter on what they spend or get their own tax ID
That's
number.
if you don't
And
have to, you don't
Jordan,
have to do
right,
it.
and Jordan's gonna work on that, I know, for first responders.
Ben's gonna get with him. that's what he said.
I was gonna say, Ben will probably end up doing that. And in some ways, though, there'll be more, well, that's not the word, eligible for different grants.
'Cause they don't
If
a
they
city
have,
hall.
if they're tied, have their own tax ID number, so that they can work through to get that.
So then, that stuff won't have to be listed on our stuff.
Right.
Because it won't be part of the
It's
city
not
of
part
Liscomb,
of, it's not
separate
part of our
entity.
tax ID number. You get rid of that number and
Okay,
magic things happen. So, but yeah, overall, the city didn't have
debit
anything
card,
but
we're
those two
getting
things.
rid of the debit card, correct?
We don't have a debit card as first responders.
Yeah.
We just have a credit card. And that debit card's on their fundraising account, so.
Wasn't there something on here that said absolutely not?
And that, to me, is so funny because I had one at Witten, and Witten only has a debit card,
Oh, I
and
can
not a
s-
word was said.
I can see it now.
So,
So
oh,
then
yeah.
it gets a hold of that,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they can wipe that.
Well,
account.
but even if it's on a credit card, then they can
We can,
contest it.
you can.
When it, on
Yeah.
a debit card, which I'm gonna work towards the credit card or figure out anyway up there. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's just, to me, it's who has done the, who they hired to do the budgets or the audits look at things so different. They had some gal out of Iowa Falls do theirs. She also did Beamon's. But then, this is the second or third time I've had the state, and in between there was some guy that the state just hired, you know, so he looked at it different than what these state people did, but yet we've also seen how many clerks and other administrators have decided to make those funds useful for their own purposes.
That's,
So,
yeah, I just
you know,
assumed.
I'm glad they do these audits at least every 8 years. So,
Well, it's covering you too.
yeah, exactly. Okay. Anything else on the audit questions? You can ask later too.
We'll follow up on some of those things next.
Yeah.
So the
Okay, 2 or 3
auditors,
things.
for us, just not knowingly, they just put that in there for the fire department and first responders, because it's never been brought up before, and it
Right.
evidently has at other towns.
Right. I mean, for years, I've
So it's
had other
kind of-
towns, they've seen them where they've thrown them in. And this is the first time somehow they knew it was there. And
So why would any of the other auditors throw that in? I mean, it's not
The last
city
guy-
tax money, it's.
No,
Well, it's no different.
but it's still under the city tax ID.
It'd be no
So they
different
throw
than
it
Liberty
in.
and Liscomb money.
Right.
Okay.
I have had a couple auditors just say, well, I could throw this in if you happen to have it. And kind of indicating just keep your mouth shut. So. But those were, yeah, real early on.
Any more on the audit? Ben gave the fire department, first responders, do you have anything on that? Streets and alleys, any issues on that? We may have snow. Streets and alleys,
Ain't nothing wrong with it.
plowing.
Maybe Wednesday.
Don't
Maybe
have to worry
Wednesday.
about it.
Parks,
And are tractors up to snuff, ready to push snow? Okay.
parks.
I was told that Deb Critchfield would like to give more money for trees this year. She does not care where they go. So if you need any trees out there, school lot.
School lot scares me. I want to make sure we have room for fireworks.
I do not get in the way of that. I got Junior down there last summer.
Junior's not doing it anymore.
I understand that, but I'm just saying, if we still go about the same sort of route, I talked to him about last year, making sure I stayed out of his way. I can't imagine, if they still pulled a trailer down there, that it would change much on how they get in and
The
out.
person that I talk to that does this, they don't want to have it up there. They want an open lot.
So we're not gonna have it.
So where are they?
Who are you
I told them
talking
the
about?
only open lots, or unless it's a field, is out here, at the cemetery. But where are you gonna park?
Why isn't that open up there?
Too many houses too close.
We haven't even
Well,
talked
keep
about
that.
replacing Junior yet.
Company, this is the company that actually says.
Next, yeah, we gotta get going on it, cause we gotta get the fundraising letters out.
But anyways, I digress, that's what I was informed of, so.
Okay, thank you. General and utilities? Anything? Sanitation, Ted, give your report quick.
I don't have nothing during that report.
And
She didn't give us one.
Rhonda's on vacation.
Everything's slowing down now.
Yeah.
How's it going out there, Don?
Good, except for baby wipes.
And for baby wipes, they don't go through the thing very good.
We don't even have any babies in town, do we?
Baby wipes, or probably, what do
Dryer
they
sheets?
call, well, no, what is it?
Flushables.
that
Those
Elderly
towelettes.
people can
Those
use.
towelette things.
Yes.
Disposable.
So you need that in the annual.
Get back
The
the
annual mention
newsletter.
in the letter.
Whatever came out with the water pressure, you called me that night about the water.
That was real water doing.
I never had a problem that night.
I don't know, I think,
Hell, I took a shower and didn't even notice it.
so I don't
We
know.
used to years ago,
Thank
that
you.
problem, but I haven't had it for years.
Ed, your mom said she had some water pressure that night issues, do you know
Oh,
about
I
that?
had one on that end, found one on that end.
What are those
Yeah.
things called, flushable wipes?
Yeah,
Non-flushable.
No,
yeah.
Don't flush the non,
If they're not
And some of them actually even
biodegradable,
say
don't
that
put them
on
down.
there.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, you tell them young
Don't
girls
flush
that.
them, and some say flush, and, yeah,
Ah,
anyway.
public safety, anything, Ted? Pretty quiet.
well, that's what I said.
Community building, nothing. Personnel, you guys are gonna work on.
Hiring.
Hiring. Come with a recommendation for, employee wages as well. At the March meeting. All right, anything else for the good of the cause?
I have one comment, if you don't mind,
Yeah.
just real short. Something that I thought of and never did anything about, so this is sort of preaching to the choir here. When you look at budgeting for like streets, we always look at, what are we gonna work on this year, next year? The attitude with budgeting really should be, 5 to 10 years from now, I'm gonna spend $100,000.
Right,
So how much of that am I gonna
start saving.
start saving? So, good luck with that. Like I said, I wasn't successful at all.
That might be one block.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's when it
Start
starts
saving
capital,
for
capital
the
and
tractors, start saving for streets, start saving for,
As far as like the street maintenance or whatever, I'm begging you, please, please, don't do the chip seal again. Please.
But I can't.
Do we have a choice? The chip seal.
The chip seal.
What other choices
Oh,
do we have?
If a road,
I think,
certain roads need maintenance more than other ones, so focus the time, effort, and finances on that, like State Street's gonna need it. So why not just fix it right with like actual asphalt?
I think if I could have gone back and redone that whole thing, I would have just tried to fix certain sections.
One sections at a time, but just
Yeah.
chip sealing all of it.
Because we obviously cannot
I-
afford doing whole streets.
If anyone's willing, I will bring a spare wheelchair up here and invite any of you to push around in it.
What can you do?
What?
What can you do?
What can I
You
do?
got your hearing aid in?
No, he's saying
He
it's
said you
difficult
can
with the
use his
wheelchair.
wheelchair and.
And,
get on
and
these
try
chip
rolling
swings
around on
and
the
see
chip
how it
seal
is.
versus the asphalt.
That's what he
It
said.
makes a significant difference. It is uncomfortable, it is difficult to get around, it tears up wheels and equipment, and I am not the only one that absolutely hates it. Please,
We know, what's an average for a block of asphalt?
I have,
Have any idea?
We had,
Did we say three
last-
straight blocks was like $300,000?
Yes.
Oh,
We can only do 3
300,000.
blocks, but we put down,
That was 100.
we can only put down 3 blocks out.
100,000.
I think it was
Yeah.
100 for 3 blocks.
100,000 for 3
So,
blocks.
so, right, and it's probably gone up.
Oh,
So
yeah.
say $40,000 for a block.
That's what I'm
So
saying.
you've got how much to work with?
Now there's
58.
That's why I was saying we need to make a
58,000.
bit of a plan.
You got a half a block, maybe. There you go.
Need to start making.
Not going street IT, really, you can't anything in D Street.
and did the chip seal really make a difference? Like, did it fix anything? It covered
like
up
asphalt
some
bridge.
cracks for a year or two. It just, it is not, it is miserable. I'm begging you, please.
Yeah, how much was the chip seal?
$110,000.
All we did it for about the same amount as it would have cost us
Cost to do
for 3
3
blocks.
blocks.
And
It was a terrible decision. I mean, it was a terrible decision to make.
Well, it can't be too bad of a terrible decision.
No, I don't
no,
know.
she-
No,
she
I
It was a
don't.
hard decision.
That's
It
not
was,
what she
it
meant.
was a difficult decision to make.
Yes.
Yeah.
How many meetings did we sit?
How many times, even when Hank was in here,
Oh,
he
geez.
wanted us to chip seal, and we
There's gotta be an
blew
alternative.
him off. and
There's gotta be, but I have never found one, Ted. I mean,
not
Yeah, I
all
mean,
the,
problem.
not all the
I
roads.
mean, I
needed
don't
it
blame
either.
Ed, I don't, you're gonna try try and go down the road with a wheelchair, you
Tough
know.
decision.
It's bad.
The,
I'm not
well,
saying it's good.
there's scooters, there's strollers, these aren't the only wheels, but I mean, when we did the chip seal, there was really only one road that needed maintenance, and that was State Street. Why did we do it on all of them? You know, like, and it's already in the past, I don't wanna dwell on it, just in the future. If there's
The ones that got done needed something done to them,
If-
so that's why we did it.
If there's any other option, I will help raise funds, I will do whatever I
So if
can.
we keep East Street the way it is, it'll be better for Ed.
Well, honestly, even with the cracks in it, it slows people down. They're not gonna speed down, they're less likely to speed down it.
Better than speed bumps, huh?
Exactly. I can
Well, you
lean
know.
back over I would rather have a crack every 30 feet than that chip seal everywhere. It tears up animals' feet. It sucks.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
Oh,
Is there a second?
second. I'm out of here.
Wait, all in favor, say aye.
Bye.
Motion.
I'm out of here.
Is that door? Oh, yeah, it's open, I guess it's not.